Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing All-American Season 3. Just finished watching it. I'll give you my overall grade and impressions. After that, if you've not seen the show and want to see the show, you're going to want to turn off this video, because there will be spoilers. Give you my overall grade and impression, then we'll get into the plot synopsis and character development, and maybe some major themes. Overall grade, I will give it a B, same as Season 3. Still thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd seen most, in my previous review, I'd said I'd seen some of All-American, not sure what season. It was definitely mostly Season 3, but I didn't really remember it that well. I remembered it a good amount, but I wasn't making content when I watched it the first time, so, or at least not content about TV shows, so I had no problem rewatching it just to make a video about it. But overall B, thoroughly entertaining. I think the character relationships are a little too transient. I mean, it's like, blah blah, falls in love with blah blah, and then 5 minutes later they don't want to be in a relationship because they want to have time for their recovery, and it's just like, just have a good relationship at some point. Just like somebody in the show. But, so the interpersonal drama is playing on me a little bit to the downside. Again, it's just Season 3, the characterization just might be getting kind of stale for me, but thoroughly enjoyed it still. But overall B. I think Season 1 I gave it A-, Season 2 I think it was B as well. So B also. So now again, I didn't read the synopsis. I'm assuming if you're watching Season 3, you've watched the first one, just high school kids playing football and doing life drama. So I watched this one so if you have not seen the show, shut it off now. Here will come the spoiler alerts. So I watched this one, didn't write anything down until the end, and just wrote down the major plot developments that I remember throughout the season. So end of season 2, kind of forget what happens. I know that they won the state championship the first season. Spencer and Coach Billy Baker are going to be a team at Crenshaw this year. And so you get introduced to a couple new characters. You get Coach Montez, who this season is now the coach for the Beverly Hills team. And Billy is now the coach at South Crenshaw. Coach Montez has a daughter named Vanessa, and basically the season starts off is like they had everyone's coming back from summer break, and you don't really see what happened. They reference the summer a couple bit in the beginning, but you don't really see what happens until about middle of the season. So at the beginning, we have interim principal Carter wants to convert Crenshaw to a magnet school, basically just attracting more people or more financing or something, but it would take away the budget from the football team. So that's why Spencer James came back to be the resource at South Crenshaw, but basically thinking that if he can win a state championship, then there'll be enough notoriety and publicity for the school not to get converted just as is. So that's a big plot development throughout the season. Is this going to become an interim school or not? Principal Carter, he went to school. You learn that he went to school with Billy, and they have beef. Definitely have beef. At the beginning, both Billy and Grace James are not fans of Principal Carter. Later in the season, Grace and Principal Carter kind of link up for some dating, but at the very beginning of the season, they are not too. No one's really for Principal Carter. And throughout the season, you have Principal Carter referencing basically Billy beat him up when they were in high school, and so throughout the season they have beef and they overcome it towards the end. But they don't want the school to get transferred to a magnet school. That's kind of the overarching thing with a bunch of side plots. Coop and Spencer break up, Asher and Olivia break up, and Spencer and Layla break up. So again, this is what I'm talking about. It's like Layla's having some recovery, Spencer's gonna wait for something, but they all go to this this lake house thing, and basically that's where Spencer goes there to be alone, but they all show up to show him some support. Coop wasn't really invited, and Spencer didn't invite them. Coop shows up and sees that she wasn't invited, even though Spencer didn't invite anybody, and she's upset with him. So in the first couple episodes of the season, Coop and Spencer break their friendship. And again, they've been lifelong friends forever, so it's like a big deal. They reconnect their friendship later on in the season, but for probably about 75% of this one, Spencer and Coop are not friends. Asher and Olivia break up. Again, Olivia's now dated Asher. Season 1 was dating Layla. Then Olivia dated Chris, who was a football player for South Crenshaw. Then Olivia dates Asher, then they break up. And then in this season, Olivia and Spencer kind of get together towards the very extremely end. But again, just another, Olivia's in recovery. Spencer wants to wait for her to not rush the recovery. It's like that stuff just does nothing for me. Just like have a relationship, for fuck's sake. Mo comes to town, Preach's ex, and plots on Coop. So you learn about Preach, who is ex-gangbanger with Coop. And Coop's now getting her music career going from season 2. Preach is doing some of the merchandise, ends up being the manager. But you learn that Mo used to date Preach, and they have a daughter together. So throughout the season, that's a big thing. You learn Preach is supposed to go on the road with Coop. He says he can't do it for the tour. Coop's like, why not? Spencer sees Preach with the daughter and Mo at one of the common restaurants they have throughout this TV show. And we learn that Mo and Preach have a child. Jordan gets a severe head injury. So I think they're playing Westlake is the team they're playing. And Jordan's the quarterback for the Beverly Hills team, Eagles. Takes a big hit and gets a concussion. Then throughout the season, he's supposed to not be able to train until he's cleared by the doctors. He kind of goes behind his dad's back and works with Spencer, who's at Crenshaw. And because they're brothers, they've lived together, they've known for each other for a while now. And so throughout the season, Jordan's training with Spencer behind the scenes. We learn about the summer Vegas trip. Spencer and Layla break up. So, again, I'm not exactly sure where in the season Spencer and Layla break up, towards the middle or the beginning part. But basically, the summer Vegas trip, Layla is trying to impress Spencer. Her dad's, again, the rich producer, flies a bunch of the friends out there. And basically, Spencer confesses his love to Olivia. That's what you learn about the summer thing. Olivia basically says she wants something to do with him at the time. And literally right after Spencer tells Olivia he loves her, Layla comes over and hooks up with him. So Layla's not too excited about that, but they end up breaking up because of that. Carrie stays with Layla post-rehab. This is a friend from season 1 when Layla went to the rehab center, or emotional support center or something. She makes a friend named Carrie. Carrie gets out of the rehab center and lives with Layla throughout the season. And right off the bat, you get Carrie's a pretty weird character, and all the friends are kind of wary. Layla's like, "Oh, she was there for me." And then at the very end of the season, basically it's ominous, but it looks like Carrie is going to kill herself and Layla. It's like she throws away Layla's phone. The whole time, Carrie's saying her parents don't want to talk to her at all. Layla calls her parents, and they're like, "Oh no, we want to talk to her. We want her to come home. She's unstable. She's not doing well." And then Carrie ends up throwing away Layla's phone, and they're gonna go to some ski house her dad has, but it's set up like you're thinking Carrie might kill Layla. That's literally at the very end, but that's kind of what's going on. The Carrie character is just not getting along with the rest of the friends throughout the season, and people are wary of her, and Layla's in a bad position at the end of the season. Billy and Carter make up high school beef. A whole episode where Billy and Carter, they're drinking some whiskey. They do some bench press. I think Billy Baker does 235 for 15, which is pretty respectable in bench press. I think Principal Carter did 215 for some amount of reps, which is aight. Again, compared to my old weightlifting days, definitely like 35% strength anymore, because I can't get my back healed because I can't access healthcare because America, freedom. But they lift some weights, they're drinking whiskey, again, after hours at the school, just the principal and the coach. And they go up on stage, Carter plays the piano, and Billy sings. You learn that Billy can sing. If that's actually Taye Diggs' voice, pretty good singer. I thoroughly enjoy Taye Diggs' acting. Out of all the characters, he's probably one of my favorite. I like Taye Diggs, whoever plays Preach. I like most of the characters as well. But just my favorite, probably. I think Taye Diggs is pretty entertaining, good actor. But and then after Billy's done singing, Carter winds up and punches him right in the face. And at the beginning of the night, Billy was like, asking Carter, why don't you punch me? And so they kind of bro it out for the night, and then Carter whacks him in the face, and they still bro it out, but now the beef is squashed. So this is towards like the middle end type of the season. And so past that point, Billy and Carter get along, and then Carter starts dating. Then that same type of night, he tells Carter he should text Grace, and the girls are out. Grace, Laura Baker, and the chick from high school, Denise, I believe her name is. They're having a gals' night out, and so throughout the season, Jordan and Simone get married and annulment. Billy and Laura remarry. Because remember, Billy cheated on Laura with Grace. We dated in high school. Also, over the summer, you learned at the Vegas trip, Jordan and Simone got married. And so, at first, Billy and Laura, everyone's like, we're going to get this annulled. Jordan and Simone are like, no, we want this really bad. And then, so, Simone's parents were like, well, if you're going to get married, we're going to have a full ceremony, not a Vegas, elope to Vegas type of deal. So, Billy and Laura are kind of against it, but they go along with it at the end. Same with Simone's parents, and then Simone gets cold feet, and then they decide to basically just still be boyfriend and girlfriend, madly in love, but not to get married. And so Billy and Laura remarry at the ceremony. Like literally, they're having like another wedding ceremony at the Baker's house. The Jordan and Simone get called off, but Billy and Laura remarry at the ceremony. And so that's when you get, I think that's the official time when Spencer locks eyes with Olivia, and their love is now flourishing. Because remember, they've kissed, but Olivia doesn't want her recovery to be hastened by a relationship, which is kind of goofy to me. But so they kind of get together at the end of the season. They annulled. Yeah, they get the annulment. Olivia leaks information about Tamika being shot. There's a lot of just like relevant social justice type of conversation in this season. Again, like the Black Lives Matter stuff. But some chick gets shot for sleeping in her car. And again, Laura Baker as the DA. Olivia sneaks onto her computer, steals the body cam footage, releases it on her podcast, and learns that it's basically Laura was fighting because Laura's white, Billy's black, their children are mixed, and so Olivia realizes that her mother was fighting for social justice by trying to get the prosecution, and releasing the tape just makes it harder to prosecute. So that's a big development in this season. Asher and Spencer get full ride scholarships and All-American. Well, Spencer gets All-American, Jordan Baker gets All-American, and they both get scholarships. So saying Spencer gets an offer to North Toledo State, and Asher gets a scholarship to Coastal Carolina. And also towards the end of the season, you learn that Coach Montez's husband is the defensive coordinator for the Coastal Carolina. So you learn that kind of at the end. Asher's not too happy about that. But Asher has a heart condition, and there's a fight at States. So basically, in previous seasons, Asher's dad was only really connecting with him when he was playing football. Asher's had a little cracked ribs and had some x-rays, and learns that he had myelopathy, just a heart condition. So he can't play football anymore. He's very, very sad at the end of the season. Mo tries to set up. Coop gets dropped, and Coop is hit as well. So at the very end, at the absolute end of the season, again, Mo, the whole season is like, Coop's thinking Mo's doing some dirty business because Mo is Tyrone's sister. So Coop's suspicious, but then kind of gets over it. But then, basically, Coop's music career is going up, or blowing up a little bit. They're going on tour. They're packing up the tour bus, and Mo has a dude named Andre basically load a bunch of drugs into the tour bus, and then Mo's gonna call into the cops and get Coop set up with a bunch of drugs and send her to jail for life or for a long time. And so when Andre's loading up the t-shirts, which are the drugs, Coop becomes aware of what's going on and unloads them. So when the police come to raid the RV, there's no drugs on the bus. And so Coop shows up to Mo's house like, got you back. And then Mo pulls out a gun. And Coop's like, oh, come on. I got you back. Now you're just going to kill me. And then she kind of points the gun at her, lowers the gun, and points it back up like she's about to shoot her. pulls the trigger, hits Coop, and then Preach is right there also and kills Mo. So we don't know they're dead yet. Coop's probably going to live. Well, this is literally the end of the season, so you don't know what's going to happen yet. But it's my guess is Mo will die and Coop will be living. My guess, but we'll see. But that's what happens there. And then the last type of major thing that happens throughout the season. Oh, there's a fight at States. It's basically it's Crenshaw versus Beverly in the States, and so you have a bunch of different beef going on. And then right when they get off the bus for the game, they all start fighting. And so you have JJ fighting Jordan, who they're both on Beverly over the quarterback one spot. You have Spencer and who has another beef with one of his own Crenshaw teammates, Fraze or Frazier or something. But so you have Crenshaw fighting Crenshaw, Beverly fighting Beverly, and Beverly fighting Crenshaw. So it's pretty funny, but they all get into a big fight. There is one, the Fraze dude or whatever calls JJ a dude from Chippendales, which I think was absolutely fucking hilarious. But I thought JJ's a pretty fun character throughout the season so far. But they all get in a fight, and then basically Coach Montez and Billy Baker both like cover for their team so they can play. And so the fight is not too impressive to the coaches, but the game goes on anyway. I don't know if they actually play the championship game. I forget who wins. Not sure if you get the. Yeah, I don't even remember who won. I don't know if they showed it or not, but I didn't have it written down. But there was one other major development, kind of like the middle of the season. Damon Sims in visiting a historically black college. Olivia, Spencer, Jordan, and Simone go to visit Simone's aunt at a historically black college. There's another drama with there's a really high-ranking baseball recruit there, and right when he's there, the program that he's looking into gets demolished by an internal scandal. Basically, a coach having fake classes to boost up the GPA so people can play. So when they're visiting this college, it blows up. The baseball program does, and Damon Sims was going to be a top recruit for the MLB, and he decides to pledge to the black college to rebuild the baseball program. So again, another weird type of development for me was like, I'd absolutely be taking the fucking money. Rebuild the college for our people. No, give me some checks. Yeah, I'll take the paycheck, please. But that's another development, and it kind of plays in as well to Simone and Jordan just again remaining boyfriend and girlfriend and not getting married, again being across the country. And during the visit, you can definitely get maybe there'll be future development between Simone and Damon Sims. I think it's Damon Sims. But the baseball player, Sims is definitely interested in her. There's some flirtation. They do this dance thing, like a fashion show dance. But that's pretty much what happens at the historically black college. So again, at the end, the actual end is Coop getting shot and trailing off, but I can't remember who won States. But that's pretty much the major developments for season 3. So again, overall, B, certainly enjoyed it. I'll definitely watch season 4. Some of the character relationships can be a little stronger. At least it's always I'm going to be here for you forever. And 5 minutes later, it's like I need space because I'm so hurt and sick and need to recover and stuff. It's just like every single relationship is kind of like that at this point. So it's just like I'd like to have like one good relationship between some people or something. So we'll see if that happens. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. So B overall. So thank you for watching my review of All American Season 3.